The human body contains trillions of cells. Each one is alive, performing specific tasks, consuming energy, and responding to its environment. But a single cell on its own can only do so much. For the body to function as a whole, cells must be organized into teams. These teams are called tissues. A tissue is a group of cells that share a similar structure and work together to carry out a specific function. Every organ in the body, the heart, the lungs, the skin, is built from tissues, and every tissue, no matter how complex the organ it forms, belongs to one of four fundamental types: epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous. Understanding these four tissue types is understanding the logic of the human body. Each one solves a specific biological problem, and together they make everything else possible. Epithelial tissue. The first problem the body must solve is boundaries. The body needs to separate itself from the outside world, control what enters and what leaves, and protect its internal structures from physical damage, chemical harm, and biological threats. Epithelial tissue is the body's solution to this problem. Epithelial tissue forms sheets of tightly packed cells that cover every external surface of the body and line every internal cavity and passageway. The skin is epithelial tissue, so is the lining of the mouth, the stomach, the lungs, and the blood vessels. Wherever the body meets a surface, whether that surface faces the outside air or an internal fluid, epithelial tissue is there. The cells of epithelial tissue are arranged in one of two ways. Simple epithelium consists of a single layer of cells. This arrangement is thin enough to allow substances to pass through easily, which is why it is found in locations where exchange is the priority, such as the air sacs of the lungs, where oxygen must cross into the blood, or the small intestine, where nutrients must cross into circulation. Stratified epithelium consists of multiple layers stacked on top of each other. This arrangement sacrifices permeability for protection, which is why it is found in areas subject to mechanical wear, such as the skin and the lining of the mouth. Epithelial tissue also serves as the body's gatekeeper. It does not simply block substances, it selectively controls their movement. The cells of certain epithelia contain specific proteins that allow some molecules to pass while denying others. This selective permeability is critical for maintaining the precise chemical environment that the body's organs require. In addition to covering and lining, some epithelial cells are specialized for secretion. They release substances such as mucus, digestive enzymes, and hormones onto surfaces or into ducts. These secretory epithelial cells are organized into structures called glands, which carry out vital chemical functions throughout the body. Epithelial tissue does not contain blood vessels. It receives all of its nutrients by diffusion from the connective tissue directly beneath it. This boundary between epithelial tissue and the tissue below is called the basement membrane, a thin but important structural layer that anchors the epithelium in place. Connective tissue. The second problem the body must solve is structure. Cells and organs cannot simply exist in empty space. They need to be supported, held together, and protected. This is the role of connective tissue. Connective tissue is the most abundant and most varied tissue type in the human body. Unlike epithelial tissue, which is made primarily of densely packed cells, connective tissue is defined by what surrounds its cells, a material called the extracellular matrix. This matrix is produced by the connective tissue cells themselves, and its composition determines the properties of the tissue. The extracellular matrix consists of protein fibers embedded in a ground substance. The most important of these fibers is collagen. Collagen is the most abundant protein in the entire human body, making up approximately 25% of total protein content. Its structure is a tightly wound triple helix, 3 protein chains coiled around each other like a rope, which gives it extraordinary tensile strength. When collagen fibers are arranged in parallel, as in tendons, they resist pulling forces along a single axis. When they are woven in multiple directions, as in the deeper layers of skin, they resist forces from any direction. This variety is the defining feature of connective tissue. By changing the composition, concentration, and arrangement of its matrix, connective tissue takes on dramatically different forms, each precisely adapted to a specific mechanical role. Loose connective tissue, found beneath most epithelial surfaces, is soft and flexible. It acts as a packing material, filling spaces between organs and providing a medium through which blood vessels and nerves travel. Dense connective tissue, found in tendons and ligaments, is tough and fibrous, built to withstand the significant mechanical forces generated by movement. Cartilage is firm but slightly flexible, providing smooth joint surfaces and structural support in locations such as the nose and the ears. Bone is connective tissue that has been hardened by deposits of calcium and phosphate minerals, creating a rigid framework that supports the entire body and protects its vital organs. Even blood is classified as a connective tissue, its cells suspended in a fluid matrix called plasma, carrying oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and waste products throughout the body. All of these structures, here from the delicate packing tissue beneath the skin to the hard shaft of a femur, are variations of the same fundamental tissue type. What changes is the matrix. What remains constant is the principle. Muscle tissue. The third problem the body must solve is a movement. Bones provide a rigid framework. Connective tissue holds everything together. But neither can produce motion on its own. Motion requires a tissue capable of generating force. That tissue is muscle. Muscle tissue is composed of cells that are specialized to contract. When stimulated, these cells shorten, pulling on whatever structures they are attached to and producing movement. There are three distinct types of muscle tissue, each suited to a different role. Skeletal muscle is the type most people think of when they imagine muscle. It is attached to bones by tendons and is responsible for all voluntary movement, the movement of limbs, the expressions of the face, the act of breathing. Skeletal muscle cells are long, cylindrical, and contain many nuclei. When viewed under a microscope, they display a distinctive banded pattern of alternating light and dark stripes, which reflects the highly organized arrangement of the proteins responsible for contraction. Skeletal muscle responds quickly and powerfully, but it fatigues with sustained activity. Smooth muscle lines the walls of internal organs and structures, the digestive tract, the blood vessels, the airways, the bladder. It contracts slowly and rhythmically, without conscious control, pushing substances through tubes and regulating the diameter of passages. Its cells are small and spindle-shaped, each containing a single nucleus, and they lack the banded appearance of skeletal muscle. Cardiac muscle is found exclusively in the heart. It shares some features with both of the other types. Like skeletal muscle, it is striated. Like smooth muscle, it contracts involuntarily. But cardiac muscle has a feature unique to itself: specialized junctions between cells called intercalated discs. These structures allow electrical impulses to pass rapidly from one cardiac cell to the next, enabling the entire heart to contract in a coordinated wave. This is what produces the synchronized rhythmic beating of the heart that continues without pause for an entire lifetime. Nervous tissue. The fourth problem the body must solve is communication. With trillions of cells organized into dozens of organs, the body requires a system that can send precise signals across long distances at high speed. Nervous tissue is that system. Nervous tissue is composed of two main cell types, neurons and glial cells. Neurons are the signaling units of the nervous system. Each neuron has a large cell body containing the nucleus, a network of the short-branching extensions called dendrites that receive incoming signals, and a single long projection called an axon that transmits signals outward. Axons can extend remarkable distances. Some stretch from the base of the spine all the way to the foot, allowing a single neuron to bridge the full length of a limb. Neurons communicate through electrical impulses. When a neuron receives sufficient stimulation, it generates a rapid change in electrical charge across its membrane, which travels down the length of the axon. At the axon's end, this impulse triggers the release of chemical messengers called neurotransmitters, which cross a tiny gap and stimulate the next cell in the chain, another neuron, a muscle cell, or a gland. This entire process from stimulus to response takes milliseconds. Glial cells do not transmit signals. They support, protect, and maintain the neurons that do. Some glial cells wrap around axons in a fatty insulating layer called myelin, which dramatically increases the speed at which electrical impulses travel. Others regulate the chemical environment around neurons, clear debris, and supply nutrients. Without glial cells, neurons could not function.